Yeah. So, yes, do you want to talk about us through the film, Dave?
No, not really. It's pretty sad.
Okay, let's go. I mean, I thought it was great. It's the pathos, and I thought the acting of the main guy was really, really fantastic in it. He must have like the saddest face I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think when we cast it, I think the term that we may have used was because he's called Jeffrey when he's not John. I just think it was something like we're looking for someone who looks like the product of a one-night stand between a potato and a slug. That's what we ended up with.
Was he quite up for that description?
No, I think we probably did that after we just cast. No, we were very honest about it from the start, really. We just said, you know, the guy's very lonely. He has to be, I suppose grotesque is too strong a word, but I'm going to use it. You know, and then he just pretends to be this motivational speaker from, you know, the mean streets of Baltimore. But yeah, no, I think he's quite good. Not too sure about the you know, the good-looking extra that is shocked and surprised, you know, with a massive bald patch.
But I thought it was perfect casting for him. And I like the way it was quite slow, and you know, a lot of the shots just of him on his own, just his face. I thought that was really good. The way it's very dark as well. It's funny, but it's very dark film as well.
Yeah, everything I seem to write, and people who know and read any of my stuff will testify to this, always seems to be about loners, despite the fact that I'm a very social being myself. I love, there's nothing pleases me more than seeing just a lonely man sat on his own.
Was that the basic premise for the film then? Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought, what's sort of funnier than someone who in real life has to wear a fake moustache to go to like a drill shop and then gets up and makes his money from ripping off people who are very similar to him, and then can just be this huge, larger than life figure. Just that, you know, if he's being someone else, he's more comfortable being someone else than he is himself.
Yeah, he's always motivating himself occasionally.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So have you done quite a few films then?
I wrote this, it was some time ago, like I wrote it at uni as part of like a third-year project, because everyone was sort of writing and directing their own things, and I've got no interest in directing really. So I just sort of pushed it out there, but everyone was like writing and directing, no one was interested in taking anything else on. And the original script was, we sort of a bit bigger in scale, like at one point I think he went to a Waterstones and he had like his own like John Power section that he studied and just flicked through his own books, and like the hotel scene was I'd sort of pictured as being very much in like Beetham Tower, which is just huge like floor to ceiling windows and surrounded by like extremely classy people, and the conference room, instead of having like 5 or 6, you know, very lonely men, would have just been full of very lonely men, like hundreds of lonely men.
I thought it was better with less, because it made it even more.
I think that now.
Yeah.
But at the time, because I was an extra in that and turned up and there was that many people there, my heart sort of sank a little bit. But then, you know, you have to think of the logistics of, you know, getting a huge hotel conference room full of people. But maybe when we do the feature. And Michael Mann comes in and decides that he wants to do it.
Still keep the room empty, it's really effective. Because it's just like, even when he's the Uber version, it's still
when we do the special
sad.
edition, we might try and CGI some people in there.
So have you got quite a dark sense of humour then?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Quite a lot of the stuff that I write is, because I did try through uni to write serious things, but it just wasn't happening. So I just thought, you know, fuck it, balls to the wall, let's try and be funny. And I'd like to think
You're starting to sound like John Power now.
Yeah. You've really put me off now, I've lost my track. I'm going to go home and sit in the shower and cry.
Which one of the two versions do you think is the most vile?
Vile?
Yeah, or which one the most disliked, or the one, you know...
I kind of think that because John Power is basically a figment of Jeffrey's imagination, and not many people have pointed this out. They said one person who was trying to get a job from at the time just said that, you know, at the end of the day, he is a shit. Because, you know, he's a a fat loser ripping off other fat losers is just like, oh, I know what I can do to make money. Instead of getting an actual job, I will rip off people in a very similar situation to me.
But he seemed to know that, didn't he? Is that why he's...
Yeah, I'd like to think.
He had an air of depression about him as well, didn't he?
Yeah, if that's how he has to scrape by, then so be it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I really liked was the soundtrack.
To be honest, the soundtrack is one of my least favourite things.
I liked it. I thought it really helped.
It sounds like a wind chime on a bad Sunday afternoon, I feel really bad. This is strictly off the record, by the way. But the composer of the music and the performers of the music contacted me over Twitter and said, "Oh, I hope you like the soundtrack." And it's really hard to just say, "Yeah," over 140 characters. But yeah, the music sort of doesn't sit right with me, to be honest.
I thought it worked, didn't it?
Yeah. You're all wrong.
For a minute, I thought I was the one that's fucked up, but it's you. Yeah. So, has anyone got any questions at all? I was too scared to ask a question. There's one there, yeah.
Just burning question. Was he in there at the end with her? Did she?
Look at him. Look at her.
I don't know. I thought it was quite touching.
No, originally, and this was more sort of what Jim has put into it. He was the director who couldn't be here tonight. It was a full. Like when I wrote it, I didn't even realise that it was just all men in the cast. There was no women in it at all. And then he sort of brought this romantic subplot into it, and I just had him having a full breakdown in a B&Q. And when someone asked him like, "Are you all right there, sir?" Just as you would, he just has a full breakdown. And then this poor Saturday lad, he just comes in on a weekend, has to deal with this wreck of a man. I can help you as long as you find a workmate, but I can't help you with your problems. I'm really sorry.
I thought it was quite effective having her in there, actually, but not because of the love interest, just because it made it even more fumbling.
Yeah, looking back now, it does sort of work a lot.
I hope it doesn't resolve itself. I didn't want to see him going out there in the end.
No, I wouldn't. It wouldn't work. He'd crush her in the bedroom. But I do feel that it's probably a little bit better for having women in it. It's just, and this is probably lazy writing on my part, I sometimes forget to write women. Yeah, all the women are tutting.
But it works in that because it's actually looking at just how crap blokes are. Really.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I will test them, obviously. Yeah, everyone goes through a phase of being scared of women, I suppose. Not most women, but yeah, it does sort of make sense that that kind of person who's going to be has no self-confidence, he's going to be scared of the ladies.
I thought perhaps the saddest, but also kind of funny scene was when he's having the wank in the hotel.
We've all been there. Write what you know.
So does anybody else got a question?
Can I just ask, what was your budget?
I don't know because I just wrote the pages. I think Jim told me yesterday that it was somewhere in the region of about £500. He did a lot of stealing and borrowing to get there, but you may have noticed that the banner that was in the exhibition hall was made on brown.